Let's wait for a minute because we still have people signing in. Okay, let's start. Good evening, everybody, and good morning to our friends in China. I'm Sufei Li, the Senior Manager of China Program at SNMS4. Welcome to SNMS4's webinar regarding Chinese scholarship opportunities for American students. This is a webinar number 2. We received lots of questions and queries after our first webinar about the American Short-Term Study in China initiative. Thanks for the support of the Chinese Embassy in the US. We will hear more opportunities regarding the scholarships and how the students and institutions benefit from those programs. We will have the chat box ready for Q&A at the end. And now I want to welcome Mr. Zhang Yun, the education counselor from the Chinese Embassy, to moderate today's session. Let's welcome Mr. Zhang.
Thank you, Sufei. Thank you, Joyce and SNM4 for providing us with such a good exchange platform. And hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. It's an honor for me to act as the moderator for the webinar tonight. The session tonight aims to provide information on Chinese scholarship programs, how the American institutions can make use of these programs to support their own overseas study program, and how the American students can benefit from the Chinese scholarship programs. And tonight, we will have 3 major speakers for the session. Mr. Xiaomeng Sun and his team, representing China Scholarship Council, and Dr. Darla Domke Damonte, representing Costa Carolina University, and Ms. Maria Garcia represents Chinese scholarship recipient. The first speaker is Mr. Xiaomeng Sun. Mr. Sun is currently the Division Director for International Students Admission and Cooperation Program, China Scholarship Council. His presentation will be assisted by Xu Wei and Zhao Shuang, project officers of Mr. Sun's division. So the next, Mr. Sun, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sun Xiaomeng from China Scholarship Council. It is our great pleasure to attend this meeting. I will work with my colleagues, Ms. Zhao Shuang and Mr. Xu Wei, to deliver a presentation about our programs. Firstly, I will give you a general picture about my institution and our programs, and my colleagues will provide more detailed information. China Scholarship Council, we are founded in the year 1996. We are working for the Ministry of Education of China, and we are committed to promote the student mobility and education cooperation between China and international communities. CSC provides financial assistance for Chinese students and scholars to study overseas, and international students and scholars to study in China. In the year 2019, we sponsored 69,000 Chinese students to study abroad. And at the same time, we sponsored over 63,000 international students to study in China. Chinese government attach great importance to the international education, especially in receiving international students. China has the largest number of international students among Asian countries. And in the year 2019, the total number of international students studied in China is over 490,000, and they are from over 200 foreign countries. Over 50% of the international students in China are degree students. US students play a very important part in the international student population in China. In the year 2019, we have a total over 18,000 US students in China, and over 1,300 are sponsored by our programs. And most of the US students, they prefer to study humanity and social sciences, economics, and management. And they would like to study in the eastern part of China, including Beijing, Shanghai, Jiangsu provinces. And Chinese government, in order to further promote the student mobility and to attract more excellent international students to study in China, we are offering many scholarship opportunities to the students. So at present, there are 3 different ways to apply our programs. First is from the Chinese embassies and consulates in your home country. And the second is apply from the international organizations. And the third way is to apply directly to our scholarship universities. Currently, we have over 280 Chinese universities in our list. Our scholarship program supports all levels of the students, including undergraduates and postgraduates. And we also sponsor for the scholar students to study in Chinese universities. And most of our scholarship are full scholarship, and the sponsorship duration is consistent with the length of the program the student will be studying. And for the student who apply our program to study an undergraduate program, it is compulsory to using Chinese language as the teaching language. For those students who doesn't have the qualified Chinese language proficiency, we will offer a foundation program. This program will be offering intensive Chinese language courses, science courses, as well as intercultural communication skills. And for all of our scholarship students, we will organize an annual review each year for the performance assessments. We will organize experts to review mainly your academic performance in the whole year to decide if your scholarship will be continue or not. So that's my part of the presentation. I will pass the floor to my colleague, Ms. Zhao Shuang, for more detailed information of our programs. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Zhao Shuang. Just now, we have known that applicants could apply Chinese government scholarship either from the Chinese embassy or consulate in the US or directly from Chinese universities. And the application procedure varies among the program. So in the next part, I will move on to how to apply Chinese government scholarship from Chinese embassy and consulate. Firstly, please make sure that whether you have the basic eligibility to be a scholarship candidate. Applicants must be a citizen of a country other than China. And there are also age limits and the basic diploma requirements for different types of students. Applicants should also reach the academic and language proficiency of target universities. So it is suggested that applicants contact the International Students Admission Office of target universities to learn their detailed requirements before application. For the supporting categories, Chinese government scholarship programs sponsor international students, teachers, and scholars to undertake degree studies, Chinese language study, or academic research in institutions of higher education in China. You could apply as either of these levels. undergraduate, master's, doctoral, general, or senior scholars. The scholarship supporting duration is in accordance with the academic duration. For example, the study duration for most majors of bachelor is 4 years. Then the scholarship will be granted for 4 years. If granted the Chinese government foundation study, the first year foundation program will also be covered by full scholarship. Full scholarship includes tuition, accommodation, stipend, and medical insurance. For application documents, there are mandatory ones and optional ones. Mandatory documents include passport homepage, highest education diploma and transcripts, study plan, recommendation letters, physical examination form, and non-criminal records reports. Optional ones include pre-admission letter issued by Chinese universities, language proficiency certificate, and other supporting documents that demonstrates one's academic performance and research ability. All bachelor students under the Chinese government scholarship scheme will be taught by Chinese. Students without enough Chinese language proficiency will be granted a first-year foundation program at one of the assigned foundation universities and move on to the major study after reaching the language requirement of target universities. Master, doctoral students, general and senior scholars can apply for both Chinese or English taught programs. To check the programs and instruction language offered by each university, please visit our official website, campuschina.org, to figure out the program you're interested in. 289 universities support a wide range of programs in literature, science, engineering, medicine, fine arts, and other disciplines at all levels. In this page, you could search universities by province. And in the next page, you could search program by name of universities or search university by programs and instruction language. For application timeline, normally the application starts from each fall. From September to next February, applicants complete the online application procedure and participate the university review around March to May. During June and July, the Chinese embassy and consulate will notify admission results and send the admission notice to and the Chinese visa application form to the scholarship winners. In August, you could prepare your trip to China and come to China at late August or September to register and start the first semester. The next page demonstrates a more detailed application procedure. Step 1, please make sure your ideal universities and programs at each fall. It is encouraged that all applicants contact the ideal university to get the pre-admission letter before scholarship application. Step 2, please pay attention to scholarship application notice released by the Education Office of Chinese Embassy or Consulate in the US. Complete Chinese government scholarship online application and make sure that the Chinese Embassy receive your application. Step 3, follow the instruction of the Chinese Embassy or Consulate to become an eligible scholarship candidate. In this step, the embassy will possibly organize interview or other types of appraisal. Step 4, for eligible candidates without pre-admission letter, CSC will still consult your ideal universities for academic review. In this step, please keep an eye on your email or phone in case the university will contact you for interview or supplementary documents. This is the scholarship online application portal. If any problem occurs during your application, please contact us or the Education Office of the Chinese Embassy or Consulate. The contact information of CSC will be presented at the last slide. Next, my colleague will introduce another way of scholarship application, applied directly from Chinese universities. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone. Except for the scholarship that applicants could apply through the Chinese Embassy or Consulate, there is another type of scholarship called Chinese University Program. To let you have a brief understanding of this scholarship, I would like to present you a few keywords. First, full scholarship for full range of student categories. Recipients of this type of scholarship will enjoy full scholarship, which covers tuition waiver, accommodation, stipends, and medical insurance. And it will suit applicants who are planning to purchase either a degree in China or short-term scholar course. University-based autonomy. We generally call the scholarship as Chinese University Program because it is provided to the 289 Chinese universities. The universities will be the main body to select and recruit outstanding international students to study in China under the scholarship. Large amount of opportunities. Each year, the universities will be granted a certain number of scholarship seats. In recent years, annual recruited international students by this program are around 7,000. So there are a large amount of scholarship opportunities available from this program. For the student categories, these scholarships support either degree students, including bachelor, master, or doctoral candidates, or non-degree students who intend to study in China for several months, a semester, or one academic year. Eligibility of this scholarship is basically the same as other programs. First, applicants need to be a citizen other than Chinese. Second, they shall have obtained the relevant diploma or degree before a certain age. Third, their academic and language capacities have reached the university's enrollment criteria. List of the documents. After starting the online application through our portal, applicants will have a clear picture of their requested documents. And we need to remind that some universities or the majors applied for may have additional requirements on the documents. We have prepared a few tips for the applicants of this program. Number one applicant can maximally submit 3 applications to 3 universities in one enrollment year. If being accepted by more than one university, the candidate can only be admitted to one of them. Number 2, though the total number of scholarship seats for each year goes around 7,000, the number varies for each university and it is quite limited. Every year we receive tens of thousands of applications and only a minor portion of them could be finally enrolled. Number 3, which I have mentioned earlier, universities could have specific requirements on the scholarship application, not only about the documents, but also on other relevant issues such as the procedures and assessment arrangements. Where and when to apply, as this type of scholarship is university-based, so the applicant shall apply to the Chinese universities directly. Here is a general timeline of the application. Just remember that the universities may have various enrollment plans for each year. Applicants are suggested to reach their preferred universities in time and submit their applications before the deadline. Application procedures, we have summarized them into 3 steps. Step 1, plan the application and follow the scholarship information released by the universities. Step 2, prepare the application documents as requested, then submit the online application in our portal before the deadline. Step 3, at this stage, the applicants may need to be prepared for possible interviews that may be conducted by applied universities. On this slide, we have prepared our contact information for applicants. First, we have a website and our email and our phone number. If you have any questions or inquiries, you are free to contact us. And thank you. That will be the end for our presentation today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Xu, Mr. Sun, Ms. Xu, and Mr. Zhao. It's a dream team, huh? Thank you for sharing with us the operation of Chinese government scholarship programs. And particularly you introduce who you are and what you are doing. And the most sensitive, most important figure for me is that last year, some 1,300 American students got sponsorship from Chinese government programs. Thank you. Thank you again. The second presentation will be delivered by Dr. Dalla Domke Damonte. Dr. Dalla Damonte is Associate Provost for Global Initiatives at Coastal Carolina University. She earned her PhD in strategic management from Florida State University in 1998 and got her master's degree in international business from the University of South Carolina. She's a consultant in 6 languages. Dr. Damonte have very rich experiences in operating different kinds of scholarship and study programs. And next, the floor is yours. Doctor, please.
Thank you very much. I don't seem to be able to share my screen. If someone can allow me to do that, please. There we go. Okay, I see it now. Just one moment, please. Okay, let's try this. I hope that you can see the screen now. Very good. Well, first of all, I want to first say a very big thank you to the People's Republic of China for both the creativity in the programs that have been created to enable the mobility of our students around the world to better understand China, its language, cultures, societies, frameworks, to be able to enrich conversations around the world. I want to share just a few elements of our experience with the program and the benefits that it has brought to our campus and to our university. I'd like to start by maybe offering some suggestions about getting started with the China Government Scholarship Program. I know that we're very excited to learn about the opportunity. And as we looked at things that were required to be submitted, the timelines, and this wonderful breadth of universities to which our students could apply, we knew that we needed to have a better understanding of the program itself. And we very much appreciated the resources at the embassy and reaching out to them, as well as to Sufei Li, who did a great job of helping us to understand what was available, what needed to be done, and how we could best proceed. So I think one of the most important things to other universities looking to advance collaboration in this space is getting clarity on the documents to apply, the opportunities available, processes, and I appreciate the clarity with which these have been shared from the scholarship team just now. The application documents themselves, in some cases, will require some time for gathering. And so it is important to get started early on this to make sure that they can be together in the framework that are needed. And then in terms of opportunities and designating and requesting institutions, there are other questions that you may want to ask depending upon the major that your student is seeking to do a shorter term through the semester, year-long framework as well. I think the last piece that we really needed to wrap our heads around was the timeline and the institutions, both of the receiving institutions in China as mental expectations through the participation in this program here at our own institution. In part, this also then helped us to look at and evaluate how mobility through a China Government Scholarship Program fit with our campus mobility processes. We were greatly appreciative of the clarity of the registration process that came through our asking questions, so that we had an idea about the coursework that our students would be taking while they were on the program. This did a little bit as their registration and ultimately getting on campus and doing some of their placement testing. But all of that was very clear to us, and that helped us to coordinate with the academic units on our own campus for clearly telling our students who were interested in this program and had been taking Chinese on our campus to then know that they could proceed with this program and still graduate in a timely manner from their degree program. This was really important to these students, and so we appreciate again the clarity of communication of the program. With our financial aid officers, this also required conversations. In many cases, US students may be receiving aid from a variety of formats, and so clear communication on whether those would continue, whether they would be placed on hold, or whether the student would lose access to different types of resources, important to have on our community. And to be able to resolve to the students' clarity up front. The continuity of degree completion was really important. And we found with the programs that our students have gone and participated in so far, that they really were a range of coursework was available that allowed that student a really timely progression to transfer those activities and those courses back into their degree program at our university, which was very much appreciated. And there was flexibility in that process as well. And then in one case, in fact, one of our students got a China government scholarship support our exchange partners in China. And so that actually led us to have a conversation with our exchange partner with respect to what that meant in terms of balances and swap spots within our own institutional agreements. So we were delighted to see the increased mobility to existing partners, and it also created additional conversations. One of the most critical things in really getting started with this program, to keep it from just being one of many opportunities that are available or posted on bulletin boards or sent through emails or put out through social media, is really maximizing our students' awareness on our US campuses to be able to meet what, for us at least in many cases, was a short application timeline for what was ready when applications were due. But that really made us more proactively at this process. And I appreciate how the sharers earlier today have already, Mr. So in particular, already shared that, you know, this has a timeline that you can plan in advance. And that has been really important to us. So I strongly encourage others looking to make this a hallmark part of their opportunity set for the students from the US to partner with your Chinese language study programs, your history, political science, philosophy, religion, cross-cultural communication, and other programs to develop efficient distribution channels that start very early on. In fact, our students, this very first year of their time period at our university, not because we expect them to apply that year, but because we want them thinking about it and preparing so that they can get things together as they need to. We also target communications through both fall and spring semesters here at our campus to heighten awareness and tell people it will come out and you need to have your things in quickly. So that has helped us as well. We also have initiated process groups to facilitate applications. Xin Tan, who is our chief coordinator in our Chinese language studies area, is a very strong believer in this program. And she is a cheerleader on our campus for helping students at all levels of the program and in those affiliated areas to learn about the program, make their progress toward application. To confirm the completion of applications is something that our department does in collaboration with that unit. So this process group is really working then also to engage communication with departmental groups to ensure their support and encouragement. Because we know that over 70% of our students say the most important people who encourage them forward with these types of applications are their faculty members. So we need to make sure that their professors know about the program, know how it works, and know what a great benefit that can bring to students of all, both financial, academic, as well as experience backgrounds. Beyond that, we identified single points of contact on our campus. We worked very proactively to facilitate approvals of course transfers. This made our students more confident that the experience they were going to have would allow for that continuity. We communicated, as I mentioned earlier, with campus units about that approved mobility plan. We complete a very clear pre-departure orientation, including international insurance that has repatriation pieces that are important for our institutional policies to fit and gel well with the China Government Scholarship Program. And we stay connected and communicate with students while on the program and that time period on site there in China as well. So further that conversation and encourage them to reach back and do, whether that's blogs or speaking opportunities or some sort of collaboration back with our Chinese programs and other interested students on our campus. And finally, it also raises, for those that we're not already actively partnering with, the potential for further campus cooperation. Where are the synergies that our campuses have that may allow for research, high-level visits, other program collaboration? From our students, and this is a picture from one of the visits here in Beijing with some of our students on the program in 2019. Obviously, their enhancement of their legacy is really high. And in this visit, we got to watch them in language application in a number of different ways. It's collaborative engagement in cultural activities, familiarization with new instructional approaches that perhaps they haven't seen, but they get to experience. And I know myself, having done this in other country settings as well, that really helps you to learn in new ways and to tap new ways that you're going to respond to change situations in your life. This is very, very important for any young person to experience. And the professional opportunities our students report are also important. Research linkage, for example, teaching English and developing communication partnerships there on the campuses, and organizational connections, including the person, the second from the right in this photo, connect and stay there in Beijing even now. And so our provost and I visited with them as we were in Beijing that time. I will leave it here and just say that, again, a great thank you to the People's Republic of China for making these opportunities available. I know that Maria follows me and she will give a far better explanation of what her experience was one-on-one in this. But I can't say highly enough how much we appreciate the collaboration, the cooperation, the clear opportunities that this provides for students of all levels, means, and academic backgrounds to really be able to change their lives. So thank you again. My contact information is here. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. So my name is Maria Garcia, and I'm currently in San Francisco, California. And I study a dual master's degree in international communications and disruptive innovations. So when I studied abroad in China, I was actually studying for my undergraduate program at SUNY Fredonia. And it was through the Rising Star program, which Sufei is very much familiar with. And the application process wasn't challenging because I had Sufei's support, and she really guided me through the process, and my school was also available to provide any clarity for me. And so it was a very smooth transition. And so when I got accepted and I went to China, I immediately fell in love with the country. One, because I didn't think it was possible for me to leave the Bronx, let alone leave America. And so to be experienced to a complete different culture was mind-blowing. And it was very emotional for me. It meant so much to me. And I was I had a very open mind. I was very optimistic and passionate, and I learned a lot about the culture. And I immediately spoke with Jody Dixon, who I believe is the director of the Rising Star program, and asked her, I was like, are there any scholarships available? I need to come back here, And she just saw the passion in my face, and she was like, maybe I'll speak with my team, see if there's anything we can do. I returned back to America. I received a phenomenal email telling me that there are scholarships available, which was the Chinese government scholarship. And I immediately start the process. Then I bumped into a little obstacle. My school, SUNY Fredonia, did not have a direct study abroad program with China. So I had to connect to another American university known as SUNY Oswego. So I had SUNY Oswego, SUNY Fredonia, Chinese government scholarship, as well as Sufei's team, all helping me to ensure that this would be a smooth transition to my Chinese university. So I got the good news, I got selected, and I picked 6 months instead of a year because I was scared. I wasn't sure how I would manage the language. My school was Communication University of China, which I didn't know until I got to China, where the students were telling me, you know, it's really hard to get into school, right? I didn't know it was a hard school. I had no idea at all. And I was quickly welcomed to the university. My school helped me with everything. And, you know, I also had my American university helping me as well. And so one thing that I want to ensure you of is that no one is going to baby you. You're going to have the support system. Yes, that is a guarantee, but you need to be able to speak up. Whatever it is you need to ask. The support will always be there. And so I had the scholarship for one semester, fell in love with the language, fell in love with the people, the community, and I negotiated with my American school if I could come back. I loved it so much, I wanted to come back. And I got it. So I stayed for a year, and the second semester I actually studied new media instead. And I was able to visit the Great Wall of China because my university in China hosted 1 or 2 trips every month so that we can have a better relationship with one another, as well as learning the culture. And I made so many friends, especially with my Malaysian roommate. And when I say get out your comfort zone, I really mean get out your comfort zone. You will meet phenomenal people. I was able to perform for my school's gala just by being communicative, being approachable, taking an initiative. And my recommendation is to be vulnerable, have an open mind, get out your comfort zone, be positive, be patient, be approachable. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Damonte, and thank you, Maria, for your presentation and for sharing with us how the American University is engaged in this scholarship program and how the Coastal CCU work with the students. And I think the experiences and practices are very helpful. And the guest speakers introduced the Chinese scholarship programs from different angles, as scholarship agency, as American institution, and as a scholarship recipient. They brought us different pictures. I hope all together could compose a complete picture of the Study in China program. And time now, we need to move to the questions. And from the chat box, we got one. Are there different types of short programs? So, Mr. Sun, I think maybe it's CSC can answer the question.
Okay. So our scholarship program do sponsor the short-term students, and because we have a certain program will be mainly focused on the exchange program between the Chinese university and the international ones. So it should be based on the agreements between the Chinese university and foreign ones. So our program for the short-term study only sponsor the students from the foreign university who already have agreements with Chinese ones. And for the US students, students at least should study 1 month in the Chinese host university in China. And student can apply to the US university directly. And the I think mostly will be the international office of the US university will connect it with the Chinese partner university for the process of the application to CSC. Because we for this kind of program, we will organize a review expert review for all the agreements. And if the agreements or the program pass the review, the student can have the scholarship.
Okay, we got another question. What would the scholarship cover if it is a short-term study in China?
Yes, for the short-term study will be also the full scholarship. As we mentioned in our presentation, we will offer the tuition fees and free accommodation on campus, also living stipend monthly, and also we will offer the medical insurance during their stay in China.
Okay, thank you. We got another one. Is there a way to encourage or help partner universities to become a partner with CSC if they are not currently on the list? Sufei, I think maybe you can have something.
Thank you, Mr. Zhang. Yes, specifically from our last webinar session about American short-term study in China initiatives, we're building a form that we will send out that if you are interested in apply, submit a proposal, because the requirement is you have to have a Chinese partner institutions. So we're building another set of the form that we know there are quite a lot of Chinese institutions who are interested in partner with American schools, American universities. So with that form, you can submit that form and providing the basic information for this, what kind of short-term programs you are planning to offer and what field, what is the, with that basic information, we will try to work out with match to work out with the CSC and the Chinese embassy to find a matching partner institutions for you. So together you could establish the partnership and apply for this short-term studies. So stay tuned when we're going to send out the emails to all of the people who registered, because we got a request already. Say how can we find a proper partner for us? So that's what we're going to do. Yes.
I have a question for Dala. What should the American university pay special attention to when implementing the Chinese scholarship programs? Do you have any tips for Chinese for American partner institutions?
Thank you. I think that it's very important to get an idea about the kind of coursework that the institution is offering, so that you can communicate that and work with your student to identify how that will work into their degree program. Some programs are very lockstep, so it's very transactional. If you have areas that allow for a broader choice, that can be very helpful to you as well. So some clarity on the, I would urge you to seek some clarity on what kinds of courses may be available during the time period the student would be in mobility, but also to have a conversation within your department to allow for some flexibility in that, because the timing and the listing of when the courses are available works on a different timeline than it does for perhaps your own campus. So some flexibility in that I think is important. The other piece is staying in touch with your student. I think Maria mentioned this as well as a part of it that she had that was available. And so reaching out and helping that student to make sure they're self-advocating on site, but also then sharing that breadth of information and that risk-taking that they're doing to spread their comfort zone to other students. And I strongly encourage the US campuses taking part in this to make sure they don't miss that benefit of bringing that back as the students are experiencing it. it is really, really a great incentive for other students to leap out and do that as well. And then as Maria said too, she said, yeah, I'll buy in for a semester, but then to encourage them to go even longer. As a person who studied abroad to enhance my own language, the longer the time period that the person can be there, the better it is with enhancement. So from a US university perspective, I encourage you to be flexible, but raise awareness with that partner about the courses. Stay in touch with your student and build a plan to make sure you're helping that student tell their story into your campus and your community as well, so that the awareness is even greater.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Darla. And I also have a question for Maria. Do you have any recommendations to American students who plan to or will go to study in China?
Yes, set positive intentions, be open, be positive, smile. Don't rely on Google Translate. Don't do it. It's not always authentic. It's best to just get a friend who knows the language more than you and they can translate for you. But just using your body language and being positive, it's gonna take you far, honestly.
That's a very best way to keep person-to-person communication. Thank you, Maria. And right now we also have other questions. What Chinese universities could you recommend for me to contact for possible partnerships with my college? Sufei?
Yes, I'm going through the questions. Obviously, we have so many questions coming and with all sorts of queries regarding how to apply and who can apply and how to get the support. I think there are a couple of questions our CSC friends probably could answer. And for my recommendations is using the CSC website to check first the universities you are interested in are listed under CSC recommended university list. That's a very important one because the scholarship we're talking about here will go to once you get the scholarships, you don't see the money. The money goes to the university you are going to attend. So make sure the university you're applying for will be receiving the scholarship from the CSC. That's number one. Number two, if the university is not on the list, probably, and that's the university you really want to apply for, or you want to have a partnership with, check with the university directly, because they may not be on that list, but there are some programs the university have with different type of scholarships that could help you and help your students. And so that's number two. Number three, establishing a partner with through the faculty connections. That will help you to build the academic exchanges and connections that will also provide opportunities for you or for a faculty-led study abroad short-term program. And the one we were talking about, this short-term, as long as the university is listed within that framework and you have the faculty connections, all the students in that program should be able to apply for the scholarship. Because there are too many questions, I just tried to summarize a couple of things that hopefully will cover multiple questions here, Mr. Zhang.
Thank you, Sufei. And we also got other questions for our CSC colleagues. Has the recent tension between USA and China in the past few years affected this program? And currently, a lot of universities are pausing study abroad programs due to COVID-19. Will China be accepting students at this time. So Mr. Sun.
Yeah, okay. So during the academic week, we're still expecting the international students as well, because I think most of the Chinese universities have developed the online program and online teaching. And I think it is possible for all of the international students to study the courses or participate in research through the online platform. Yeah, and also I totally agree, Ms. Sufi, for your suggestion about the partnership between Chinese university and US partner universities. So I think we cannot make any individual recommendation today because the cooperation will be based on the both interests from both sides. So the US partner or the Chinese university should find the channel or their interest for the cooperation. And I think CSE could make some advice or suggestion to help our US partners to find their partner university in China. But we need more information about your size. And we'll keep in touch for this question, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Sun. I got a recommendation from the participant, James Pasquale. He wrote that you might remind everyone that the funding for short-term programs was covered on your last webinar. They can watch the recording of that. Thank you, James. But the program, American Short-Term Study in China Initiative, is indeed a short-term program, but it's school-based, project-based, and a group-based, and a credit-based. So a little bit different from individual application. Thank you anyway. There's another one question. It is very long. Is there any support for American students who have received their bachelor's degree and want to come to China to do some independent research before studying their master or PhD program back in the US? Alternatively, if someone comes to China to take classes for a semester, will that student be able to work on an independent research project in history or Chinese language or literature? So,
Okay, so as we said in our presentation, our scholarship program sponsor the scholar students. Actually, we have two types of scholar students we can sponsor. One is general scholar and the other one is senior scholars. So for this question, I think the general scholar program will be more feasible for the students. So after they complete their undergraduate program, he can apply for a program to do one semester or maybe whole year in Chinese universities. For the independent research plan, I think this is the question to the Chinese university or the professor he will be contacting.
there's another one question. Do fellowship advising offices in American universities help students to apply for these scholarships, or is it mainly through the language department? Dollar, can you say something?
Sure. I think that really depends on the setup of the individual university and where the point of contact is developed. So some universities have, if you will, nationally or internationally competitive scholarship offices, functional fellowship offices that are set up specifically, and then they organize along those lines and mentor project and application development that way. Others, the applications are dependent upon who it is that actually has identified the program and become either by their own choice or by assignment in their department or college, the de facto leader of that program. And some universities a hybrid model that works with sort of centralized communication coordination pieces and then individual point of contact within unit areas as well. So realistically, the answer to your question is yes, it could be either or both of those. But I think what's really important is finding what is the best way that the diffusion of information and awareness can happen on your campus far enough in advance so the students can then become aware of it, plan for it, and put their materials together in a timely enough manner to meet the deadlines so that they can then have a competitive application clear to the Chinese university and meets the scholarship expectations and requirements as a high quality application so that they can then be selected. So I think either one of those is possible. It just depends on the dynamic of your institution. And what I will say too is that what we have found in our campus is oftentimes it starts with the individual saying this is a really important thing. And as they then help others on their campus to learn, wow, this really is a very great opportunity for students. I think that then helps it to perhaps then move into other models as well.
I think of a new one. Is there a way to encourage, help, partner universities to become a partner with CSC if they are not currently on the list? Mr. Sun?
Okay, I'm not sure if you mean the Chinese university to become a partner university with CSC or the US one. If you mean the Chinese ones, actually, I think it's possible to be our university in our university list, but the university should apply for the apply to the Ministry of Education of China, because CSC, we are only an acting institution for the programs. We cannot decide which university will be put in the list or not. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I think the last question is, are there any scholarships available to faculty as well to teach for a time at the Chinese universities? Mr. Sun?
Okay, so our program only sponsor for the students or scholar to do study program or research program in Chinese university. We do not sponsor for the faculty to teach in Chinese university because teaching is a work in China. So because our program students only can holding the student visa, they are not permitted to work during their study. So if the faculty wants to teach in Chinese university, I'm sorry, they cannot apply for a scholarship program. Thank you.
Okay. So, Sufei, do you have any speaking words, concluding words? Would you?
Thank you, Mr. Zhang, and thank you, Mr. Shen, and our Chinese friends. This is really a good opportunity for all of us to learn about the scholarship programs for the students, for the institutions. And I also like to thank Darla and Maria to share the experiences of participating into the programs. And I know there are more questions that we haven't got time to answer each one of them. But I want to say that on April 15th, that we're going to have another number 3, the webinar number 3, and we were inviting more organizations. Today's session is China Scholarship Council, but there are other opportunities. So to answer may be able to answer those questions on how to provide opportunities for faculties who may want to do research or teach in China, and how to find, connect with your potential partners with Chinese institutions. So I hope that by providing a series of these webinars, we can work with our international institution community and with the support of the Chinese Embassy and the CSC and other organizations in China, that to explore and provide more opportunities to benefit our students and benefit our institutions in this international higher education research and learning. So I want to thank everybody, and specifically Mr. Zhang from the embassy and all the speakers today on this panel, and I really appreciate, and I hope we will, if you have any other participants today, if you have any questions, you're welcome to contact us. You received the emails from us, so you will be happy to provide any assistance that will help you to develop the program. And hopefully we'll see you on April 15th for our another session of seminar. Thank you very much. Mr. Zhang, back to you.
Okay, thank you. So we'll have to stop here. Yeah, a lot of questions answered, but not in depth. So I think we can expect a future collaboration and communication in these areas. And thank you, Mr. Sun, for your team, the Dream Team. And thank you, Dr. Dalla Damonte. And thank you, Ms. Maria, for all your contributions to the success of the session. And again, thank you, Sufei and Joyce and Sanem Force. Thanks a lot for everyone for your patience and participation. I look forward to seeing you next Thursday at the same time. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.